Hi, everybody.
Hi, on the hill, sat a lonely goat herd.
Welcome to trucks. Welcome to trucks. Welcome to trucks. Welcome to trucks.
That was thematically appropriate.
Ooh, I love our trailer.
Oh. Hosped.
We're taking apples.
Apples.
The wrong button. I always press that button. We're taking apples from Zurich to Cardiff, Wales.
Yeah. Switzerland to Wales. Apple fun.
What did I just...
Singing madrigals.
Okay, that was weird. So, everybody.
Yeah, I know.
How's everybody feeling today?
How's I'm trapped in this rut that just keeps repeating over and over again. It's like I'm forever driving catpulls to Ardif. I'm forever driving sheep to Switzerland.
Did we literally start from here in the past? Or is this just really...
I think that Switzerland is Switzerland, man. There's only so much Switzerland to go around. Remember we got the lumber from Zurich that one time?
Oh, yeah, so that's why this looks so much the same.
God, those logs. You remember that log run? It's like
that was like our first actual episode, wasn't it?
No, it was the third one. Or was it? You know, I think it was.
It was the one with Bossa Nova playing, so yeah, it was the...
Tall and tan and young and lovely girl.
I hope you guys like that girl from the video thing.
Nah.
Red signal offense. Fuck you. I was just coasting forwards.
That's my name, don't wear it out.
Red signal offense or coasting forwards?
I was going to say red signal offense, but I actually prefer coasting forwards.
Yeah, but coasting forwards would be a pretty good name.
Mm-hmm. So I guess that we've decided that we're going to discuss no issues today.
Not a single one.
No,
I'm sure we'll arrive on something.
This is just going to be
There's always kind of an awkward warming up period in these videos.
This is going to be a sort of a gray kind of white noise alarm clock type thing for your brain.
Frankly, that's what most people use it for. I think,
you should probably be doing yoga right now or possibly designing a smartphone app.
Mm.
But or drawing. You could be drawing.
I hope you're playing Euro Truck Simulator while listening to us.
Oh, geez, that's complicated. What if the truck sounds are out of sync with the truck sounds?
Well, I've been making the truck sounds pretty quiet on the videos lately, so...
Okay. It's just sort of this endless, like, aleatoric susurrus of honks and vrooms.
Very few honks, although there are...
Can you honk the horn? I'm gonna guess that was you honking the horn.
Yes, our speaker's audio is off, but all the viewers will have just heard us.
You really hit that button with conviction, though.
There was a thingy in the kitchen that was like remarkably in sync.
There was a lime in the coconut. Oh yeah. Our roommates are over there making beans.
Yum.
Making midnight beans.
Beans from scratch. They're magicians.
They're young fellows with good hair and proper care of their bodies. It's a contrast. It's a marked contrast.
We made pasta today.
We did. I was teaching Josh some basic culinary techniques.
Yep. I'm trying to cook more often.
Yeah.
Too much Chinese food in my tummy.
I'm a wise old owl
that knows to put the peppers in the onions in before the peppers.
Yeah, you put the onions in before the peppers.
Yes.
In your saute.
Yeah, see?
Yeah, see, there you go.
It's one thing to know how to saute, and it's another thing to know to put the onions in before the peppers.
Absolutely.
So.
So we've discovered or at least I've discovered what Splunky is good for. And that it is basically a comedy engine.
Yeah.
It is a slapstick physics engine.
It's very true. Can you recount some of the things that happened?
Just now?
Yeah.
Well, there was a time I wanted to see whether I could sacrifice you on the altar. And so I whipped you, to knock you out. And you fell 2 floors directly into a pit of spikes.
Yeah.
Like 2 entire floors. And there was a pit of spikes right there.
Into a pit of spikes.
There was
a moment where I was bouncing towards the spikes where it was
surely not.
It was clear. It was clear that was what was about to happen. It gave me time to calculate my response for after it happened, which it was, well, you sacrificed me.
Hey, you could have. I mean, really, just sort of a blank stare and look of betrayal has got to be the way to go.
That happened a few times.
Oh my God.
The time you killed me with a boomerang, and then I killed you with a boomerang.
Yeah, those were the days.
Now we're playing a boring truck game. We should start.
There's no opportunities to murder each other.
We should make this Spelunky cast.
Probably. I mean, Spelunky casts are all the rage.
That's true. On Twitch TV.
We've been watching a number of them lately because we have nothing better to do.
But what better things to do are there, honestly?
We're watching culture being written.
It's
We're
true.
watching new art forms develop and unfurl.
I think Spelunky is going to be remembered. I think it's going to stand the test of time.
Yeah, it'll end up in the MoMA one day.
It's totally possible.
The MoMA on the moon.
I think his visuals might hold it back a little in that regard. All the games that got into the MoMA are really pretty. Katamari Damacy, even Dwarf Fortress.
Oh, can you say that again, please?
Did I pronounce it?
No. No. I loved that. Pronounce it again.
Katamari Damacy.
No.
Dwarf Fortress?
Dwarf Fortress.
Dwarf
Fortress. Like giving a little frisson. You're saying that Dwarf Fortress has pretty graphics?
It's got kind of a visual appeal to it.
It does definitely have the sort of thing that art school dude might look at and say, well, this is definitely...
It's as digital as a game can look. Hey, check this out.
I bet he's full of milk. I know. Convoy!
It's about... what was I saying? It's about as digital as a game can look, but also the patterns of those characters really, they convey a naturalistic world in a way which is pretty evocative.
I remember watching a video or a GIF or something of a volcano erupting amid a crowd of dwarfs.
Oh, yeah.
It reminded me of nothing so much as that thing that goes around Tumblr of what's supposed to be the brain scan of the person at the moment of death.
I've never seen the original thing. Maybe we should explain this meme.
I don't think so. I think if you're on Tumblr, you know about it. No, okay, you go ahead and explain it.
No, I don't even know what the original thing is. I've just seen every so often I see a new image captioned with this is the scan of someone's brain in an MRI at the moment of death. Tragically beautiful.
Yeah, no, that was the original one, and it wasn't. And
what was it? Do you know what it was?
I don't remember. There was an era of people saying, no, this is clearly something else, you guys. And then there was the meme was reborn in another era of people just coming up with alternate captions for it.
Yeah. I haven't seen alternate captions. I've just seen the same
it was a 3-stage thing. It was a tertiary. We're now at the tertiary stage of this meme. Tertiary. It's the tertiary stage.
The dwarf stage.
Oh man, do you know? My mom used to laugh at me when I read to her as a child. And one of the things that she laughed at me about was when I said dwarf.
Why would you say dwarf?
Well, I was reading The Hobbit and I was talking about the dwarfs.
Oh,
Gimli and Gonzo and Farfig.
Much like the word ask is going to become the word axe in the future, the word dwarf is going to be replaced.
By any logical standard, become dwarf.
Yeah.
The other time that she laughed at me was whenever we went into a cavern and I talked about the flaming braziers.
Right, what were you trying to say?
Braziers.
Braziers.
No?
No.
Braziers?
What is that?
It's a sconce.
I'm still lost.
It's a fucking torch on a wall.
Oh. I see. Well,
all right, well, that anecdote didn't end as well as it might have.
Fun fact for everybody. Isaac knows some words.
This was in children's literature. I was reading to my mother as a...
How old was this children's literature?
I don't even fucking know.
200 years?
It was probably some Tolkien. Maybe it was 200 years.
That does sound like a word Tolkien would use about 200 years ago.
He was an ent.
He was an ent?
Yeah, it's widely known. The man was made mostly of wood.
Oh. Wow. Thus his knowledge of words which mean things made of wood.
And fire. Yes. Because fire was bad.
His life and his fears all wrapped into one word.
That's, I think, most of the Silmarillion. It's just treatises on why fire bad.
Oh, hello, car.
Lovely little green hatchback.
We got some lovely weather. Some weather that's nicely indicative of the fact that we're going to England. Look for the clouds in the distance. They are England.
So your brother was just saying that we should kill the guy who made Dwarf Fortress.
Yes, because he said that if he ever dies, Dwarf Fortress will go open source. I like this phrasing, if I ever die.
He's got to be a futurist, right?
He is Armagh. He's literally Armagh.
He's got to be a transhumanist.
Yeah, you're probably right about that.
Yeah.
If I ever die, Dwarf Fortress will go open source, said. What's his name? Toad? Frog Toad?
Said Frog and Toad go to camp.
Yeah. Jesus.
Frog and Toad eat some lunch.
I made it.
Frog and Toad hedge their bets. Frog and Toad ruin the economy.
My brother's suggestion was that we should definitely assassinate him because, frankly, Dwarf Fortress is a game that's...
Say it again, Josh.
Dwarf Fortress...
Oh! I got a frisson right up my nodules.
It's a game full of bugs. Lots of really cool features, lots of bugs that just could be fixed, but, the dude's focused on other things. He likes adding features more than he likes fixing bugs, and who can blame him?
It's these labors of love, man.
Yeah.
Who knows when the labor of love turns into art? Is there like a hard and fast thing when it's not a responsibility to you anymore, but it's a responsibility to the world and to posterity? What is the ownership of a piece of art?
Gosh, I don't know, man.
Gosh, Rooney.
Yeah, I'd like to set up an art museum where all the placards just say
gosh.
Those broad
Get a load of this one. This one is super expensive, guys.
Oh, man.
Oh, this one isn't, but it's really good anyway.
What do you think the net worth of this museum is?
Guys, do you even know what the rent is like in here? Guys, can you believe that we as humans devote so much of our time and resources to this? It's amazing. It's just as amazing as the stars.
I like to think that everything you make artistically, you should have at least... You should pay attention somewhat to the idea that people might view it and consume it. You shouldn't. As long as it's public in the least. That's my theory. At least that's my philosophy about my own work. It doesn't show at all in these truck videos. But,
no, definitely not. I was reading like some douchebag's treatise on the making of good art and what you should do in the internet age, and what he one of his principles was don't show it to people until you're finished with it.
I've heard that before.
Like, you know what? No.
Yeah.
Not in this day and age. Maybe if you're a musician. Dude's a musician. That might have something to do with it. You don't want to post your rough drafts if you're doing music.
I've heard that with short stories as well. Or, writing in general. Novels.
But, for serial stuff?
Yeah, no.
I mean, also, frankly, people do that all the time. You publish an excerpt in the New Yorker before the novel's finished.
Yeah.
So that people can be like, ooh.
Although the excerpt...
Philip Roth.
The excerpt, you see, was finished.
Well, there you go. But yeah, no, I mean, it's clear that you shouldn't be, like, trying to sell people your rough drafts. But
right. I mean, for software, that's terrible advice. Mm-hmm. That's just, like, the game design
or
pretty much...
Really for anything where it's an iterative, repeated thing. I mean, like, if it's stand-up comedy, the only way that you finish it is by showing it to people over and over and over again. Or really anything that's improv-based, you just have to practice it in front of people until you.
Right, and the same with games. You pretty much need to play test for most kinds of games. Not every kind of game, but most.
I mean, it's the sort of like, solipsistic unitary author thing, which I don't really dig on very much, is the idea that it's going to, storm full-fledged out of your skull.
Yeah.
I mean, he's clearly not saying that you can't, like, show it to editors and stuff, but,
Artists love that mystique.
Crawl down from it, man. Crawl down from it. The things that excite me have distributed authorship.
Yeah.
He said that's one of the douchiest sentences I've ever said. Actually, I'm gonna crawl away from that one now.
I don't completely disagree, though.
Yeah, no, I just could have phrased it better. You haven't run into you got that traffic violation right out of the gate, but you haven't run into anything yet.
Yeah.
These apples are as pristine as the day they were picked.
What was I going to say? I had a really good response to what you had just said. I can't remember what you just said anymore, though.
Oh, I was saying that I wanted to climb down from this unitary authorship thing and was interested in distributed authorship.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah. A blog I've sometimes thought about starting when I am feeling a little mean is authors.txt, or not authors, artists.txt.
Oh yeah.
Just go find pretentious things that artists say, preferably about their own work, and stick it on the blog. You know how an artist sounds when he's describing the concept behind his work.
This is like pretty much the dictionary definition of sniping at those who do while you yourself are not doing.
Indeed, it's not a real idea, but you do find. You spilled water again.
No, I didn't. It's empty.
Oh my god!
Oh god! No!
I shifted all the way down the neutral trying to prevent that.
That was lovely.
Yeah.
Lovely. Look at that van. Look at that cherry red van.
I think
you're getting kind of.
What?
Can you? Ooh.
I think we might be meant to be going.
Oh, really? Yeah, no, definitely. That's
I
a
like
nice
driving
scenery.
trucks.
Yeah, I like driving trucks with you, Josh.
It's fun.
It's the beast.
I like this game. It's a good game.
I guess you know. We saw. Did we ever? We didn't end up talking about Thor, did we?
We didn't. We should talk about Thor.
We should talk about Thor. You know what I like, Josh?
We saw Thor: The Dark World this weekend. It was good.
I like movies that set the bar low and then hit that bar.
Do you think it set the bar low, or did it just?
I think it was unpretentious.
Yes.
And I think that it's really kind of lovely to see an unpretentious action movie. It wasn't trying to say anything about, like, America or about, whoa, them shadows.
Yeah. This is actually pretty weird right now. I'm just going to blame it on that surface.
I think it's the fences and the light.
Oh.
Yeah.
Weird.
And now it's gone.
Yeah.
Like an old oak. Anyway.
I will say that Iron Man 3 did try to say things about America, and I actually really appreciate it for that.
No, I mean, I think one of the things we were saying is that one of the cool things about the Marvel movie franchise right now, and which is also one of the cool things about the Marvel comic books, is that they're different things for different people. The different books really have different sort of levels of ambition and levels of execution, and some of it's kind of just mindless fun, and some of it's a little bit more geopolitical, and some of it's just like sort of more blockbustery as opposed to less blockbustery. It's kind of nifty that the Avengers movies are really like events, you know, and then the Star one was just, it felt like a nice episode. Yeah, I mean they're coming out with these things like 2 or 3 times a year, and the quality has been pretty consistently high. Yeah, especially ever since just before Avengers there's Captain America, which is one of the weaker ones, but everything since Avengers has been, I mean, probably because they have so much money to spend now, right? That can't hurt. Yeah. But I'm looking forward to the next ones. Guardians of the Galaxy is the next one, apparently. Yeah,
that's after Captain America, Winter Soldier.
Which I'm looking. I wasn't. Did you just miss your? No.
A funny thing.
I wasn't looking forward to that so much, but then I saw the trailer and I was like,
I haven't seen the trailer yet. I really should see that.
For Winter Soldier.
Oh, for Winter Soldier. I thought you meant Guardians of the Galaxy.
No, there's nothing.
Winter Soldier is looking really good. I read an interesting article which made a point about how the Marvel movies are kind of doing new things with seriality, which are seriality, not surreality. Gotcha. Which are kind of cool. Like, if you watch the first Thor movie and then the second Thor movie, you can kind of pick up on what's happening. But, like, the Avengers movie really changed the status quo even for the Thor movie. Like, the second Thor movie opens with the first Thor movie ends with Loki like being banished to the stars, and the second Thor movie opens with Loki like being put in the dungeon. And if you try to watch them as their own series, like, you might get a little confused. I mean, they'll fill you in on what happened in Avengers, and that's useful, but it's kind of something we haven't seen before in movies. Marvel Comics has like literally 50 years of experience with wrangling continuity. Yeah. And like they've seen how that can be handled well, and they've seen how that can just boil out of the nether realm in a massive, furious tentacles and rip you to shreds. Yeah. And I think that they're putting those lessons to good use here. Yeah, I mean, one of the things developing satisfying continuities. When I started reading Marvel Comics, it was around Civil War, and I was really impressed by kind of how especially that storyline, how it kind of handled the entire universe, and none of the stakes felt very fake, and that might have been because I was new to comic books. I gave up on Marvel around Secret Invasion because I learned all too well that status quo would always be God. The main thing that disappointed me was that this was the moment for me, was I had just read Planet Hulk and really liked it. And that's a story about the Hulk on another planet being this kind of sage warrior, and he comes to rule that planet, and then he gets tragedy ensues, and he goes back to Earth for revenge. And there's this okay book called World War Hulk, where all the heroes kind of fail to subdue the Hulk until I think Thor eventually brings him down or something, or some kind of orbital beam, whatever, who cares. And then the next time Hulk appears is during Red Hulk. And all of a sudden, with no explanation, he's Dumb Hulk again. I see. And the fact that they could just do that so crassly kind of pissed me off.
Oh Lord.
But, you know, the nice thing about the movies is that they are so expensive. And
And a lot of people are paying attention.
And so gradual, exactly, that there's a little bit more oversight when it comes to that sort of thing. And there's fewer threads to hold together. So that it's less...
but enough that it feels a little, you know, rich.
Yeah, totally.
A little rich.
Totally.
A little Richard. Great balls of fire.
Do you know, what is the, like, early history of these books? Was Batman originally in the same universe as Superman? Was that the whole idea from the beginning?
I don't think that DC really had the idea of a universe in mind during the Golden Age, and people are gonna, you know, if there's anybody listening to this who actually knows anything about comics, I'm sure they'll correct. But I think that the whole...
You think they kind of nabbed that from Marvel, or...?
Yeah, I don't. I think that there's been crossovers since the Dawn days. I'm pretty sure.
Right.
But I don't think that there was a particularly. I don't think that there was a particularly like developed sort of DC universe idea during the Golden Age.
Interesting.
You know what? We've talked about this, but you know what the one character who I think would be fantastic that they haven't brought back?
Squirrel Girl.
Surely she'll appear in one of the Avengers movies.
Probably.
Absolutely. Surely she must. She was in like the latest big Marvel Comics video game thing.
Who were you gonna say?
Doctor Strange.
I think they have confirmed that they're doing a Doctor Strange movie.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so excited about that. I've always loved Doctor Strange.
It's not going to be until after Ant-Man, and they've said that they're not going to be too specific about what's coming after Ant-Man until after Ant-Man. But they have said that it is in active development.
That is lovely because I would love to see it, and I would love to have him played by the guy who does Dr. Orpheus on the Venture Brothers.
Do you think they're going to do the same thing where it's with Asgard, where it's not real magic? Or are they just going to have Doctor Strange, like, they're going to have this character on who's all, like, explaining away the Asgardian magic as science that we haven't yet figured out, and then Doctor Strange shows up and it's just like, yeah, no, this is magic.
I imagine by that time they'll probably have got the continuity bloat will probably come to the point where nobody will say anything about it. But if they do address it, it would be interesting. I mean, frankly, it's like correct me if I'm wrong, but nobody's like sat down and explained why Thor's hammer does the things that it does, right?
No. I mean, nerds have tried.
Right.
I read some pretty good theories about that, actually.
I think that but also it would be fun to make, like, Doctor Strange as, technological savant.
Oh, fuck, we're not... Damn it.
Did we run out of room again?
Yes. Hold on, everybody.
Oh, yeah. It was funny the first time. This time it's just embarrassing. But you didn't wreck your entire truck either.
No, we can just carry on smoothly.
Yeah, it's like nothing ever happened.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it would be nice to... I believe that I believe that the phrase xenotechnological savant is what I went out on, which is, I think, a pretty good place to...
we were talking about Doctor Strange.
Yeah, I was saying, an expert in alien technologies might be, a fine thing to make him.
Interesting. That would be a big change.
It would be. He could be like Marvel's Doctor Who.
Yeah. They're introducing the Scarlet Witch as well. I mean, I suppose she'll kind of reveal what they're planning.
Well, I mean, she's a mutant with probability in some continuity. You know what? Fuck this. This is not interesting. This is the opposite of interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, Thor's a good movie. It has fun action sequences, lots of laughs.
Yeah, it's not. It's
very
it's unpretentious, and it is like fun with mythological stuff. It's nice.
It's unpretentious, but it's also creative.
Yeah.
I think, the fun thing about that movie is that it could have afforded to be a little bit more pretentious than it was, without it being, like, without betraying it entirely.
Honestly, I was really happy with the level of pretense.
Yeah. I'm not saying it would be improved. Oh my god.
Yeah. That was pretty good. I also really like the visual design.
Yes.
Seemed really
Space
really
elves.
coherent.
Space elves versus
Space elves.
Space elves versus
You just
space
missed your
knights.
turn,
Yeah,
my
I know.
friend.
I'm going to reverse.
Okay, so the reversing theme is
Excuse me,
Paul
Rickard.
Hindemith's Symphonic Metamorphosis. So if you could just cue that up right here.
Excuse me, everybody. Excuse me, everybody. I'm
Every
sorry.
car, are you?
Every car.
We're just the bronies. We're the bronies of the truck world.
I swear I'm not a brony. Okay. I don't think did we suffer any damage?
I'm not sure.
Let's find out. No, everything's fine.
Flawless.
It's like it never happened.
Yeah, just like the other thing.
It's
never
exactly like it never happened. The other thing didn't happen.
I can't remember. I can't remember trees. I can't remember what daylight is like. I haven't been outside during the day in so long. I'm just sitting in my chair with my guts rotting out.
Are you
What's
sure you want
happened
to
to
admit
my
that
life,
to the
Josh?
internet?
No, that was that was satire. that was comic exaggeration for effect, of course, because I live a perfectly reasonable. Anyway,
We work from home.
yes, we do, and it tries our souls.
Not mine. I'm pretty okay.
Yeah, I know, but that's because you're young and your soul is still healthy enough that you can choke it the way that you do, and it'll still be all right.
I get all my sunlight from Truck Simulator.
Yeah. Look at that. Look at those beautiful trees. It's like they're real.
It's almost those two are identical.
Damn it! Why'd you have to do that, Josh?
Now I'm going to be on the eye out. I'm going to be keeping an eye out for identical
I'm going to be
trees.
on the eye out for your fucking face.
On the lookout. That's the phrase I was.
We're on the way to Paris,
Ooh.
the city of light.
Have we ever taken anything to Paris? Peas, but we didn't really. That failed.
Yeah, that's
A
true.
speeding offense.
Yep. You dumb motherfucker.
Listen, speeding offenses and real light offenses are a lot better than like running people over.
That's true.
Crushing
or
their
like
cars under
pinioning
my
them
wheels.
between you underneath your massive tractor wheels. I've been reading a book about Weimar Germany. Probably that's not going to help, is it?
Tell us about it. Come on, let's go.
This is Christopher Isherwood. His Berlin stories. It's the most famous stuff that he's written. I've read a bunch of other stuff by him first. I found the first chapter very difficult to get into because it was mostly his sort of delicately horrified, tales of his grotesque landlady and her grotesque friends in Berlin.
Are we talking fiction here?
This is Christopher Isherwood basically does thinly disguised memoir as fiction. That's kind of his deal.
That tends
And
to be pretty good.
the character is named Mr. Isherwood in this one, so it's not even like it's presumably fictionalized. But we're getting into the interesting parts, and I particularly loved his description of the nightclub, where the entire nightclub, including the dancers, the patrons, everybody was just sort of waiting there for somebody who was actually doing nothing until somebody who was actually from out of the country with money showed up, and then it all sort of came into life to provide the ambiance for those people in the hopes that they would, spend some money.
Speaking of authors naming characters after themselves,
John Bon Jovi.
let's talk about Roman Polanski.
Oh my God, I really don't want to talk about Roman Polanski.
We don't. Well, I have something to say about Roman Polanski.
Okay,
I have something to ask. I have
alright.
something to ponder about Roman Polanski.
Josh, why don't we, and I say this with tremendous trepidation, why don't you ask your question about Roman Polanski?
Okay, so the movie Rosemary's Baby.
I've never seen it, Josh.
I will hesitantly recommend it.
Fair enough.
But here's the thing. It's essentially a movie, as you may know, about a woman being forced to give birth to the Antichrist.
Yes.
And so people actually read it in spite of Roman Polanski as being a feminist text, because it's all about the systems men use to deprive women of control over themselves.
Well, it's based on a movie.
It's on a book,
on
yes.
a book, right? So
The author is a complete hack. This has been proven by the content of the sequels. But
right. I remember that discussion.
Yes.
What was the name of the sequel?
I can't remember whatever's happened to Rosemary's Baby.
Whatever happened to Rosemary's Baby?
Yeah, I think that might actually be it. I thought I was joking, but then I realized that's really it. Or Son of Rosemary.
It was really.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, The interesting thing, for those who don't know, Roman Polanski, convicted rapist.
Absolutely.
Child rapist, if I'm not mistaken.
That is correct.
Yes. One of the ringleaders in this movie is named Roman.
I see. So it's a sort of a public self-indictment?
I don't know. I think he made this movie before the thing happened. But yeah, I mean, it could be anyway. Really, I've never been able to find anybody who could explicate what that was supposed to mean, if anything. If Roman Polanski has said anything about it, I'm not sure.
I mean, it seems that to symbolize massive self-involvement, as far as I can tell. I mean, I know it's not perhaps the most satisfying answer in the world, but
I'm not looking for it to be deep. It's just it's a curious move.
I mean, I think that people I think that his deal is that his ego is such that he can't imagine that his behavior is not justified by his talent. And I think that comes with a sort of a need to artistically broadcast his own, this is complete out of my ass armchair philosophizing, but, that it's like the thing about narcissism is that, self-portraits are hard to step away from, and they aren't going to be glowing self-portraits either, because the narcissist is mostly interested in really getting into the core of the warp and weft of himself. And his darkness and his lightness, and and it also could be a lot of things. It could be a commentary on the nature of film directing and the sort of, and particularly as it stands and has stood between male directors and female actors. Right. There's this there have been a number of movies, and particularly by. Actually, the Blue is the Warmest Color is the newest one where this sort of thing has come out, where after the fact, the discussion of the relationships between the directors and the actresses really sort of definitely resemble abusive relationships in the way that the director works. Like the most famous example is Lars von Trier with Björk from Dancer in the Dark.
I hadn't heard of any stories about that.
Oh no, she quit acting.
Huh.
That was her last film, because apparently the experience was just that terrible for her.
Hitchcock is another example of a director who famously mistreated his actresses. And I read an interesting essay once about it was the introduction to a book. I wish I could remember what book it was. I won't put it up on the screen. Or maybe I will.
Oh, maybe you will. Yeah. That strikes me as the sort of thing you might actually do.
Yeah. But it made the point that women in Hitchcock movies tend to be very powerful figures. But isn't it interesting that he does that, and he's a horror director? Right. It seems as though he's actually terrified of the notion that women might be powerful.
I mean, there's a part of me that is just can we be done with this kind of shit? And I mean, not in France. In France, this shit will be eternal. But there it happens again. Okay. All right. All
this
right.
game just doesn't like those slanted surfaces.
But that, rather than hear the sort of the ways in which stories men tell about women are complicated and self-revealing, just.
Right.
Consuming and talking about stories by women instead.
I wish I could think of any movies by women.
Okay, let's try The Hurt Locker to start with.
I kind of like Zero Dark 30.
And Zero Dark 30, then you got Sofia Coppola, and there's, I've unfortunately forgotten her name. She's a Northwestern director from...
You don't have to challenge my knowledge of...
I
was trying to make a comment about boys' clubs.
Yeah, I'm sorry. It was just I thought it was name our favorite movies by female directors, but I think my very favorite film by a female director is probably Old Joy.
Never seen
which
it.
is a movie about dudes, which is interesting. It is a really sort of deep, loving portrait of dudes having dude feelings and going out into the woods to have dude feelings together. But it's
I handled that term perfectly.
and like not communicating their feelings, and it's kind of gorgeous.
That sounds like the reverse of what normally happens.
Yeah, you know. Old Joy, you should watch it. It's starring Will Oldham, one of my favorite musicians, as the bearded one.
All right. I'll put a link in the description.
People probably heard about that one, I think.
Oh, really?
Oh, maybe. You should watch Old Joy.
All right.
It's a fun love letter to the place where I'm from, and also it has Will Oldham being like creepy in a beard, which is lovely.
I recently wanted to see a spy thriller directed by a woman. Unfortunately, I can no longer remember the title, but I thought it would be interesting to see. I went to see Frances Ha instead, but I thought it would be interesting to see a woman's take on that genre, because it's such a male genre usually. James Bond and all that.
La Femme Nikita. You ever see La Femme Nikita?
I did. I liked the Professional a little bit more. Same dude.
Yeah, those were fun movies.
Yeah. 0 Dark 30.
The French again.
Are we in France? This looks so French.
It does look quite French. It really does. But
Still
I
driving
was
toward those clouds.
just talking about French movies, I guess. Yeah, no, I have nothing to say about 0 Dark 30 at all.
Yeah. Did you see it?
Nope.
Cool. That would explain why.
Yep.
Here's something to say about 0 Dark 30.
Uh,
There was a lot of writing about how the raid on Osama bin Laden's palace was really realistic in that movie.
yeah, no, it wasn't though.
No, it wasn't. The real story is that they had like an hour-long firefight with like 3 guys on the other side of a wall. Military operations are like not cool. They just don't end up going cool.
No, it's kind of the way of these things.
Yeah. I don't know, man. If I was there, I'd have pulled my Counter-Strike experience, right? Just throw a flashbang. Plant the bomb. Isaac is drifting away.
I just have I have so little to say about that. It's cool though. It's cool. This is some really well rendered construction here. There's a pit. I wonder what they're putting in. Maybe sewerage. Maybe a little bit of drainage around here. These folks just need to get their clean air, clean water.
The sun-soaked farms of wherever we are.
It's really beautiful. It's really gorgeous. What if we have run out of things to say here? I think we still have a fair piece to go until we hit Wales.
Yeah, we've got a while to go in this episode. I'm sure we'll think of something. What's your favorite candy bar?
Oh Jesus. Probably the good old Twix.
Good old Twix. I thought you were going to say Good and Plenty.
That's not a candy bar.
Isn't it?
No,
Oh, is it?
it's a collection of jujubes.
Yes, you're right. You know what? I'm rather fond of the Almond Joy and the Babe Ruth.
Oh wow, you have unorthodox tastes. I mean, there's a Maltagoya sitting here.
I love me some Maltagoya.
I've
Oh,
come
goddammit.
to represent my affection for Josh by buying him Maltagoyas. It's a little way of demonstrating how much I care.
My truck man needs to sleep.
My human man needs to sleep. We're recording this super late for some reason.
This probably means that the truck man has been yawning at us for the past few minutes.
This is the problem when you don't listen to the truck man yawn, as my grandfather used to say.
Such a huge improvement to our audio quality, though.
I know, but our gameplay, Josh. People watch this for the gameplay, you know. If we're making a rookie mistake like that, if your bet icon has gone red.
But that's what makes it entertaining, the mistakes I make. There's nothing more boring than watching someone who's really proficient at Euro Truck Simulator.
Yeah, take that, Euro Truck Simulator Let's Plays.
It might be a little while before we reach a rest stop.
Yeah, no, you're going to have
Oh,
to...
Jesus.
You are going to have to cope with some really serious... Oh, we're getting on the ferry.
Oh,
Maybe you can snooze on the ferry.
I don't think it does count as snoozing on the ferry, no.
Of course it doesn't.
Well, I'm going to eat some napping fines, I guess.
And that's another phrase that I really enjoyed there. Eat some napping fines.
Eat some napping fines.
Josh.
Eat some napping fines with my dwarf buddies.
Josh.
Yeah?
What's your favorite novel, Josh?
My favorite novel?
Yeah.
Ooh, that's a big question. My favorite book. May I answer what my favorite book is?
You can, but we're passing out.
My favorite book is Ficciones by Jorge Luis Borges. It's a series of linked short stories which are mystical and erudite, pretty much magical. Borges is a magician. I recommend it. Highly recommend it. As for my favorite novel, if Borges had ever written a novel, I'm sure it would be my favorite. But he hasn't. Man, I really can't. What's your favorite novel?
Oh Jesus, I don't know, man. I asked that question without having a ready answer myself, because novels are. I don't tend to love novels in much that same way. I tend to love more scattered things.
Yeah, I kind of feel you.
Little bits of poetics here and there.
I also trained writing short stories rather than novels, so I feel like I just am better at reading them. Yeah. The best novel I read this year was Leaving the Atocha Station by Ben Lerner.
Mm-hmm.
That's a nice parable about a poet suffering from imposter syndrome in Spain.
I am way... Oh, Jesus. This is like a metaphor for us trying to keep this conversation alive. I am... It's way easier for me to talk about my favorite music or my favorite films or my favorite games than my favorite books. I think because I actually have a really hard time remembering books. Way more than I have a hard time remembering pretty much any other form.
What? Look at what that guy just did. It's like, this guy's taking forever.
Brave little son of a bitch.
Yeah.
There's something really transitory to me about reading a book.
I remember I was reading a book that you had told me that you liked, and I kept mentioning bits from it, and you had no memory of them whatsoever. You couldn't even remember like the vague anything about the book.
Yeah, mostly I'm just left with a sort of a sense that I liked it or that I didn't. I'm probably more likely to remember a book that I hated. Just because it's...
I ate a fine while sitting on the fucking ferry thing. Will you fucking...
Yep, you're still tired.
Of course. This is terrible. I'm sure there'll be a rest stop soon.
I'm sure you'll be arrested soon.
So why can't you remember books? You don't even know.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have the slightest idea. They're just like very transitory.
They're neither audio nor visual.
Yeah, and I think my memory is actually very visual, and very auditory. I'm
very audio-visual.
I'm jingle-based. I'm basically a jingle-based human being, as you may have discovered. And
a jingle, a jangle.
It's a kick in the balls. Yep. There are a lot of things that fall into that category. Well, I will immediately remember that I've already read something, but upon opening it, but I couldn't have told you anything about what was in it. And I take it out.
That's really hard for me to imagine. I feel like I remember every book.
It's really cool.
That doesn't mean I can call them to memory
when
I ask what my favorite is.
Clearly. Well, I mean, I'm looking at your shelf here. We got some Murakami.
I love Murakami.
We got some Beckett. That's not
I love
novels.
Beckett.
We got some DFW.
I've read most of that. I have not read Infinite Jest, so I can't say that he wrote my favorite novel, unless you count... I mean, I don't know if I'd call it my favorite novel, but I don't know if you would call Brief Interviews with Hideous Men a novel anyway.
It's not. It's a collection of short stories, and it's my favorite David Foster Wallace thing by a pretty good margin.
Yeah.
No, as far as the novels go, I think that I'm mostly seeing Murakami and Nabokov up here.
Pale Fire. That's a pretty good candidate for my favorite novel.
You know, I think it's a safe choice. I mean, it's kind of like saying that the Beatles are your favorite band.
It's not exactly like that. Oh, right, we're driving on this side of the road now.
Oh my God, this is so confusing. But yeah, no, I see what you're saying.
I think it's more like saying, what's a really like pretentious erudite band?
Right. It's like saying
they're your favorite band.
My favorite band is the Monks.
My favorite band is Beethoven.
My favorite band is the Meters.
What is your favorite music, Isaac? Is that a question you can answer readily?
Yeah, I can pretty much answer. I mean, you gotta narrow it down a little bit more than that, though.
What's your favorite music of the moment? What have you been listening to?
I've been listening to a lot of Momus.
Oh yeah, isn't that always? Momus seems like a runner for your favorite musician.
I know Momus and I have a complicated relationship. I can go for years without listening to Momus because he's a lot to take, you know. So for those who don't know, Momus is a Scottish musician. His name is Nick Curry. He was briefly like on an actual like, you know, on track to like have hit singles. And
I didn't know that was his name.
Yeah, Nicholas Curry.
He had one hit single, right?
He had one radio single, which was "Hairstyle of the Devil."
It's a really good song.
Which I feel like influenced. I think that I believe that Beck's song "Devil's Haircut" was written because he had "Hairstyle of the Devil" stuck in his head, but I could be wrong. And so he was like sort of a very he started his career in a band called thank Christ in a band called Joseph K in Scotland, where he made a concept album with them under the name The Happy Family, which was called The Man on Your Street, and was a sort of Orwellian song cycle about a seller of laundry detergent in a dystopian future.
I never knew that.
This gives you an idea of what kind of wavelength the guy's operating on.
I listened to his lyrics, and I think that's a good turn of phrase. I rarely pick up on the like overall meaning.
Well, I mean, his later stuff is mostly just word salad. I mean, with occasional references to sex with underage girls, and
he writes characters a lot.
And impotence.
I really like Mana no Aware. No, the sadness of things.
The sadness of things, and he also really likes Japan. He's a classic. He's a classic. Like he was a slimy motherfucker.
What is it with British musicians in Japan?
What is it with everyone in Japan? Yeah. What is it with me in Japan? I like majored in anime studies essentially. Japanese history, anime studies. I've had this conversation with a number of people, particularly my good friend Alexis, who is a China historian, started out in Japan studies with me, and has nothing kind to say about Japan or the people who study it. And I think part of it is that I think there's a lot of parts of it. I think part of it is that Japan is very good at selling itself as like exceptional. That's like, you know, even at this point in history, it's, you know, it's very dedicated academically to its exceptionalism, and continues to like basically insist on it from the highest point to the lowest point, which I think attracts people. I think that there is something about their sort of minimalist aesthetic sense that is attractive to folk.
It's something they're good at.
Yeah. And I think that it's a culture that really values sort of introversion and like solitude and contemplation, so it's generally popular among nerds.
Yeah, true.
For that reason, there's a celebration of not growing up. So popular among nerds. There's a celebration, and you know, popular among closeted pedophiles, and or not so closeted, and there is.
This is a pretty.
You're
really condemning Japan here.
I think. Well, I mean,
or at least you're condemning Japan's broad appeal.
I am condemning Japan's broad appeal. It has to be said that it's, you know, that there's definitely like there's a wave of huge interest, and there has been a backlash. Yeah. And so, it's not like I'm saying anything controversial by having a go at the weebs.
True,
but
I mean, Momus and like David Sylvian, lead singer of the British band Japan.
Well, they're just incredibly sensitive. That's their deal.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think they're weeaboos. Those two.
No, they're
people like them.
Weeaboo didn't exist back in those days. They aren't otaku either. They're Japanophiles.
True. There was that music video. What was the band that did that music video, which was essentially a love song to an anime character back in 1991?
I don't even know. So it was on MTV, and it was just clips from Urusei Yatsura. I forget whose blog I saw that on.
It was really bizarre to watch these days. It like very different. It means a very different thing now than it would have back then, I suppose.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But but like I clearly still like the best. The stuff that I really like from Japan, I like an awful lot.
I like
the
their,
best
I
anime.
like their
I like
best filmmakers.
the best filmmakers. I like the best musicians. You like their best musicians more than I do.
Yeah, Ryuichi Sakamoto is one of my faves.
Cool, Ryuichi even.
Yeah, probably.
There you go. So Momus sort of flirted with stardom, then got really weird and strange, and he's one of the most poetic lyricists, and he has and thank God he rediscovered this when he's not doing cheeseball stuff. He has a really interesting aesthetic, like audio aesthetic, like this lovely lo-fi sample-based grinding, nasty.
And his
aesthetic.
voice always feels so close to the microphone. You can practically hear his tongue like lapping the top of his mouth.
It's a creepy experience, but it can be quite lovely if you're in the right mood. My friend Fury texted me saying that they were really enjoying my Momus mix, and that I was not expecting that in a million years.
I think he's written some of the best accessible pop songs I've ever heard. It's just that he's not very interested in writing those all the time.
No, he's not. He has, it's one of those things where it's like, this guy is so far up his own ass that he's essentially like collapsed into a white dwarf, and that he is and is also like firmly committed to making art. So like at some points in his career he's just gone off and written books that are arty books, or he's done installations or what have you. And so the fact that he also happens to be one of the most gifted pop composers of his era is something that he's never. It's kind of like incidental, and it's something that he's not really
comfortable with.
Yeah, willing to go to a lot.
Yeah. I don't want to call it a shame, but I don't know. We could use a Momus clone. We could use a shallow Momus clone.
Stephen Merritt is a shallow Momus clone.
I should check him out.
The Magnetic Fields.
Oh, yeah, it's different.
Yeah, Stephen Merchant, not Stephen Merchant. Stephen Merritt is actually gay, whereas Momus is just the incredibly fey hetero. Yeah.
Well,
but anyway, I think there's definitely some crossover between the fans of those two folks, though.
The Magnetic Fields. I'm trying to think. I might be getting them mixed up with somebody else, but
69 Love Songs.
No, I'm getting them mixed up with this other band. I'll put it up on the screen.
I don't even know who that could possibly be. It
could
be The Field. It could be Edwin Sharp and the Magnetic Zeros. It could be.
It might be the Magnetic Zeros. It's someone else with like a sciencey kind of name like that.
It could be. Fuck it. There's a number of
listing bands. It could be.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's fucking do it.
I don't know. I was tapped out. I'm sorry.
It's a band who gets like a lot of good reviews, especially from places like Pitchfork. But every time I listen to their music, I just don't. I can't.
What's the music like?
Atonal.
Oh, I see. Yeah, no, Magnetic Fields aren't atonal at all.
Yeah, okay.
So I would be. I have no idea who you're talking about, but it'd be interesting, I suppose.
The Dead is something.
The Dead Weather.
No. You know a lot of bands.
Yeah, I do. That's where my nerddom kind of sat for a long time.
Yeah. What am I listening to lately? Pretty much nothing. A lot of classical music. I've just been listening to the Well-Tempered Clavier.
I respect that.
Yeah, I'll probably put it on this video. No, I won't. I already did Bach.
Yeah, my favorite. Looks like I can break down my favorite classical composers.
Oh yeah, that's something we didn't do earlier.
Paul Hindemith.
Do it on your favorite classical stuff. The kind of classical stuff you like. Let's hear it.
Paul Hindemith, Zoltan Kodály.
What does this mean?
Paul Hindemith is a German who had. These are all of my favorite folks are basically people who were. This is because I mostly learned about classical music by reading a book called The Rest is Noise by Alex Ross, which doesn't.
I've wanted to read that.
It doesn't go back that far, and I tend to be more interested in stuff that is deconstructive or ironic in general, which is harder to find the further back you go.
Would you recommend to pick that book up? I've been thinking about it.
I would absolutely. I mean, it really expanded. I think that reading. I can draw the line between reading that book and getting like a tremendous amount of enjoyment out of like the research that it had me do more clearly than I think than any other book that I've ever read.
Sounds good.
So definitely I would read that one. It's interesting in that I didn't he has a lot of like really rapturous descriptions of what the music sounds like in the book, and these lovely like lyrical passages of of almost poetic criticism or celebration, and I don't agree with much of any of it, but just like getting the sense, but
that's
getting
not all
some
the book is.
Right, exactly. It's also just like a list of like all of the people who were anybody in that era, and people in that era who I dig tend to be the Eastern European folks who were interested in both serialism, which is the sort of 12-tone thing that
It's a little hard for me to stomach. God, don't hit me.
Well, it's like on the one hand there was Schoenberg who was off, and his ilk who were off there doing that,
Yeah.
But then there are people like who were sort of like, no, I don't like that. Instead, I'm gonna write music that sounds like birdsong or like folk songs, or I'm gonna interpolate like melodies that I hear when I'm out walking or something, and I'm going to change it up that way. Paul Hindemith was kind of in the middle of those two things. He was part of that sort of, let's make an orchestra that sounds like a train moving, kind of thing.
Steve Reich did the same thing.
Yeah, Reich is is very much sort of the end point of this kind of chain, and he is, as a result, he's the member of that school that I like the best.
His stuff is very pretty, usually.
But yeah, Zoltan Kodály and Leos Janacek for opera. And
My headlights. I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to comment that my headlights have been unnecessarily on for like an hour.
Cool.
Okay, carry on now.
There's some places where you have... Whoa, what the fuck is that? We're supposed to be in Britain now, aren't we?
Yeah.
Does this feel particularly British to you?
For the most part.
I guess the fact
suppose
that
there might be something like that in Britain.
Passed we're on the left side of the road is sufficient. Those are lovely northwesterly clouds.
On a road like this, there would be way more hedges in Britain.
Hedges?
Hedges.
Hedges.
Some hedges.
Some hedges.
On the side of the road. I do not do a good British accent.
I was trying to be a Welshman, but I've come over all Pakistani, as of course you do whenever you try to do anything.
That's exactly the right phrase.
Yeah.
They might be in Wales by now.
Yeah, it's looking nice and chalky.
Although Wales in this game is very, very small, so we're probably not.
A very small Wales. Land of the Arthurian legends.
My understanding of classical music around the 60s is very slim, but I'm aware of the liberation of dissonance as an event that happened, and I kind of like Eves a little bit.
Charles Eves?
Yeah, I kind of like the unanswered question, because it kind of seems very deliberate in its use of dissonance, rather than just listen to all this dissonance. There's a balloon.
What am I looking at?
Balloon. I'm driving terribly to accomplish this.
Oh God, don't go off the fucking... Of course the game can't handle you going off the overpass, but still. Look, a balloon!
No, Eves, the unanswered question. It has this beautiful, harmonious background, but it also has these squawky, awful saxophones or whatever they are, and it has a premise. It has a concept. The beautiful strings are the hills, and then the dissonance is the druids asking the question, the unanswered question, for which there is no answer.
Programmatic music.
Yeah.
I just like the way that certain things sound. That's pretty much what it comes down to for me in music.
When it comes to me and just liking the way things sound, it's all about Philip Glass. I just love me some Philip Glass and his arpeggios.
I in the hills was a lonely gutter.
I don't know. Philip Glass
goes with everything.
He has a kind of simplicity. I don't know enough about magic. I don't know enough about classical music.
Doctor Strange.
But it seems like he has the same three ingredients that he uses over and over again, and they're such simple ingredients, but he pulls so many different things out of them.
Boodly 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 boodly.
Yeah, exactly.
Boodly 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 boodly. You're now listening to us do a cappella renditions of do 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 boodly 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 do do of Philip Glass pieces.
I love some Philip Glass.
I were in Cardiff.
How do you feel about Philip Glass? You, who knows about classical music?
I like Philip Glass, but I don't like seek out his music to listen to. I like his short pieces best.
Yeah.
And
his operas get a little bit.
As a general matter, I think that it has to like please a person more on a like super sensual level to really dig it.
Can you help me understand how it is that the atonal plinky plonky stuff pleases you sensually?
Oh, Josh, let me show you the ways it pleases me sensually. It's my ears respond to certain intervals and progressions. Like, I guess that it. You know what? I think it comes down to being uncomfortable with overt displays of emotion.
I
feel like I can really get into a piece of music.
That's my turn.
Yep.
We're gonna reverse again.
Really?
We have to. There's no other choice.
If you drive?
If you try to make a circle, you can do it, but you'll literally go like hundreds of miles hundreds of imaginary miles. You know what I mean? Because the roads are so.
God, this is like the Stanley Parable.
Yeah.
We did play the Stanley Parable also. We can talk about that. But,
we enjoyed it. It was good.
We're getting too close to our destination.
No, we have another.
Yeah, we do. But
20 minutes or so.
I was talking about the way that dissonance pleases me erotically, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, please.
Yeah, no, it's nice to be able to listen to some notes that don't feel manipulative. It's just like, here is a fun progression of intervals, and I'm like, and I'm like, all right. I mean, the stuff that I don't listen to, like, the super serialist, like, I don't listen to Schoenberg. I don't. There are some things like that, like, I have a soft spot for Frank Zappa's orchestral compositions,
Never
which
heard
is
those.
super.
Didn't know those existed.
Yeah, no, he wrote a lot of music over the course of his life. But like a Kodai, where I've played that for you, and you're just like, this doesn't make any sense to me. And
I think I thought some moments of it were cool.
Yeah, it just like feels
I would listen
correct
to it again. I don't know.
to my head.
I guess like I can appreciate a piece like that sort of, but what I struggle to understand is why there needs to be so much of it.
We really do need to put the first Kodai duo for violin and cello underneath this, so that people know what we're talking about.
Would that be okay copyright wise? How old is it?
He dead.
Okay. Alright then. Is he as dead as Walt Disney?
He's super dead.
Is he deader than Walt Disney?
I think he's deader than Walt Disney.
Okay then we're in the clear. Although I probably don't have the rights to whatever recording he's playing, but
yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Nobody cares.
Yeah, point me in the direction. We'll give it another listen.
Yeah.
I'll figure it out. I'm gonna understand this music perfectly.
Okay, cool. It's like, it's not, I think the people listening to it will probably think that's not discordant at all, and I mean, it isn't. It's just
maybe I'm thinking of a different thing.
Maybe it could be.
I seem to be just remembering a bunch of. Oh, I do kind of remember it. Yeah, that was kind of good actually.
Hooray!
It was interesting. I mean, I couldn't really access what was interesting about it, but it was interesting. You know what I mean? This is what I'm saying though. Like, when it comes to telling these pieces apart, I struggle.
I feel that
because they have identical emotional content that is barely any.
Some of them are better lines up of notes than others.
Right.
Some of them are more interesting.
Imagine if Philip Glass didn't have all the obvious emotional connotations. It would just be, this arpeggio is on a different key than the other.
Well, right, but the thing is that is almost contentless.
Yeah.
Right? And the thing about this music is that it's very densely written, and so there's a lot of content there that's not just about the feeling tone.
True. So are you actually interfacing directly with the relationships between the notes? I've been over this bridge.
Oh, look at that.
This is awesome. This is the bridge that takes you to Wales.
We're going to Wales, everyone.
Oh my god.
This is actually kind of
I'm flashing back.
It's really a moment, isn't it?
I remember listening to the Beatles for the first time going over this bridge.
Holy shit. What song was it?
I don't remember that well. I know what album it was. It was that fucking Cirque du Soleil Love thing.
Oh. Oh my.
Which I
can't help you there.
For someone who's discovering the Beatles, I kind of recommend
Yeah,
it.
that's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
But it was like, I don't know what's on it.
A Day in the Life. It spans their history.
Yep.
But yeah.
Now I've got I Want to Hold Your Hand stuck in my head.
But no, I'm asking you this question, which is, do you directly interface with the math, the relationships between the notes, the rhythms?
No, I mean
just the sound of it.
I'm not like, oh, that was a nice little diminished sixth there or whatever.
Right.
I don't have perfect pitch.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even have like decent relative pitch. It's just that it's just it just like my brain likes to follow stuff that I can't predict exactly what's going to happen next.
Look at the next red sign.
Even if it's over and over and over again.
It's going to say Cardiff in 2 languages, and they're going to be identical. I love Wales. Okay.
Oh shit!
Okay.
You can do it. Oh, and we're going to Liverpool. How appropriate. Yeah, buddy.
We made it.
Yeah, baby.
Now you've given me the challenge of leading into that plinky plonky nonsense, like with something else and making it kind of smooth.
Plinky plonky nonsense.
Let me know in the comments how well I led into this plinky plonky nonsense you're hearing right now.
I'm giving you a challenge, dude.
I'll probably play a fucking Steve Reich. He has that hour-long piece. I'll just slap that on there.
Yeah, because Steve Reich is totally not.
That would be really distracting,
out of copyright.
actually. Yeah, that too.
Steve Reich's alive.
Yeah.
I think, isn't he? I'm pretty sure he is.
Music for 12 Musicians is all over YouTube, though. That's my litmus test. If it's not out of copyright, but it's all over YouTube, I'm good to go.
Sounds good, like the Requiem for a Dream soundtrack.
Yes, I'll put the Requiem for a Dream soundtrack on. Bing, 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 bing. Or that other movie, The Shawshank Redemption. Bling, bling, bling.
I've said this before, but you really ought to put Ravel's Bolero on one of these.
Is that the one I found pithy? No, it isn't. Oh, Bolero. That's the one. Yeah. That would be perfect. You're right. What's the one that goes? How's the Thieving Magpie go?
I fucking
Is
don't know.
that I hope you guys are enjoying this episode.
It'll be particularly interesting if we're still playing 19th century, 20th century classical music. This is going to be a sound editing challenge for Josh.
Quite right. But hey, I think I triumphed
skills,
with the Waters of March that one time.
Just inviting you to onward and upward and more glory.
Yeah. Hey, we have 30 virtual minutes to discuss why we like the Stanley Parable.
The Stanley Parable. I don't know if I like it.
Oh, really?
I mean, I like it.
Yeah.
But my single... It's like, I feel like some of the endings are of a game that I like better than some of the other endings, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Which is cool, because it's like 17 games in one, depending on how it ends.
Yeah.
But
it is fun. It does a good job of portraying how just the completely intangible parts of a video game can completely alter the feeling of playing it.
That's true. My problem with it is that the ironic smugness is just smugness sometimes.
Yes.
And that is
it definitely thinks it's a little clever than it is. Or maybe I'm only saying that because so many people believe, in the cleverness that it...
This is the Breaking Bad problem again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not that good, you guys. It's pretty cool, but it's not groundbreaking.
To be fair, probably nobody watching this thinks it's groundbreaking.
I know. I'm speaking to those guys.
I recommend it if you want 4 hours worth of laughs.
My absolute favorite thing about it is the break room.
The break room was fantastic.
The break room just killed me.
Yeah. They're very funny. They're good joke writers.
Yeah. It's like, the problem with it is that some of it just... Because the narrator never, ever, ever mixes up his cadence.
Yeah.
He has his moments where he's clearly doing a bit.
Yeah.
But when he's just talking, it can become I know that it's supposed to be boring, but it can be really excruciating. That's never stopping being funny.
Kind of discovered. Maybe I'll discover a Majestic dealer. Did you know that Majestic is this game's version of Mercedes?
I didn't know that, Josh.
Well, now you do. Did you know that this game mostly has made-up truck brands because they could only license Volvo?
Oh, that makes a lot of sense, and also I now understand why I recognized Volvo straight off and then couldn't recognize any of the other truck
Yeah.
brands, and that was a little annoying.
That one looks a little bit real.
That looks-
Scania might be real, actually.
Yeah. They only did Scandinavian truck brands.
That's not true. Aren't Volvo American? Aren't Volvo Japanese? Aren't Volvo Swedish? Aren't
Yes, Volvo are Swedish, Josh.
That's funny. I was just guessing randomly at that point.
Sweden's pretty cool to hit on your third try there.
Mercedes. Where are they from?
Yeah. Mercedes are German.
Jesus Christ, you're right. Well, I mean, it makes sense because we're fucking driving Euro trucks. I mean, Ford aren't going to make a European truck, are they?
No.
Europe has these short-nosed trucks. They look all different from the American ones. That's the wrong side of the road.
Yeah, we should do a playthrough of this where you just, like, fuck up drastically.
I thought that was every episode.
No. You're fucking up, like... I don't think you dinged your cargo once over the course of this.
I damaged my truck, apparently.
How did you manage that?
I don't know.
Oh, I think it was when you were reversing from one of those.
Oh yeah, no, I checked that though.
Weird.
Oh no, that is definitely the wrong side of the road.
Maybe it's because you napped.
Ah, god damn it! There's a car behind me.
Yep, those apples.
The apples are fine. I sacrificed my own integrity for the apples. My whole integrity. That's what I mean. I did unspeakable things for the apples.
I revealed myself to a hypocrite and a cad for these apples.
Okay, it's time to park this truck.
It's time to park this truck.
Oh, this one looks hard.
Time to park this truck, 'cause I don't give a fuck.
This was a passable episode, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that we've really repeated the triumph of episode 4.
Yeah. But we're
know.
doing better than episode 2.
Yeah, no, definitely better than up 2.
This is going to be a tough one, yo. Wish me luck.
You can do this. You did start the audio recording the second time, didn't you?
Yes.
Okay.
I distinctly remember because we had to puzzle out, like,
Yeah.
let's not
Yeah.
do this shit.
All right, come on.
Did I change anything? No. God.
You really do need to be playing the Blue Danube while you're doing this.
For some reason, Air on a G string came into my head when you said that.
This is the episode where we get classical music wrong over and over. God, I had to fucking play that on a cello when I was young. That was the worst.
I don't see how this is possible.
Well, I think that maybe you ought to just press enter then.
I want to solve this puzzle.
Oh, God. Will I ever be released?
Time to
This is the
say goodbye.
This is the part of the episode where I'm always seized with existential terror anyway, because I can't see my own hands. But
Fuck.
you really did a great job of parking in that space there.
I don't know how to do this.
God, Cardiff is like extreme mode. Parking extremity. Goodbye. Wipe that tear, baby dear, from your eye.
I might have made some progress here.
Oh, whoa.
Or did I just kind of reverse everything?
No, this is looking good. You gotta do it. You gotta do it. You're gonna miss again.
No, I'm not. This is going okay.
You're right, it is. Josh.
Okay, time to go forward again.
This is amazing. Everybody shut up. History is being made. What are you even doing now?
That's still time to say goodbye.
Oh, okay. I think I'm thinking of another goodbye song. Now it's time to say goodnight. Good night.
Guys.
Sleep tight.
Guys.
If you're still watching at this point, what the fuck is wrong with you?
I like to believe that everybody's rooting for me. Okay, fuck it. Time to say goodbye.
Excellent!
Okay. That was excellent, wasn't
You were
it?
so close. Why did he give up?
Oh, thank you for watching. We really appreciate that you watched these, even though
I'm assuming that.
despite everything. Okay, have a good night. Have a good night. Have a good night.
Good night, my friends.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.